Tip number 1, a very, very simple one, drink a lot of water.
And I 100% disagree with his tip. If you're having a hard time eating, he says to drink a lot of water. Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going over Joe Fazer's complete guide to bulking up from being a skinny guy. Not everyone needs to cut, not everyone needs to lose weight. Many people are just skinny and they have a hard time putting on muscle. And in this video, Joe Fazer goes over in detail how he was able to go from being really skinny to having a pretty friggin' decent physique. A lot of muscle, and he's quite shredded. It's not easy, but he was able to do it. And so we're gonna go over his video, give you the tricks, the tips, talk about the good stuff he suggested and the bad, see where he went wrong, what do I believe, what do I recommend. So let's watch the video and find out. So we're gonna go over 3 main components: the diet, the training, and the other category, supplements and so on. But let's first talk about the diet.
We obviously need to gain weight. In order for us to do that, we need to be in a calorie surplus.
And in order to bulk up, you need to be in a calorie surplus. 100% agree. And if you're very skinny, you probably have a very quick metabolism and or your appetite just sucks. You're not hungry, you don't like eating a lot of food, perhaps you're skipping meals and you just don't crave a lot of food. Most people have the opposite problem where they're actually too hungry. They have trouble putting the fork down. If you're really skinny, have no muscle, very low body fat levels, it means you just don't feel like eating. So you have to do the opposite of what I would suggest for people who are trying to lose weight.
First, calorie-dense meals.
Foods that have a lot of calories in a small portion. Pasta, burgers, pizza, ice cream. Does it really seem that difficult? And he says it's hard because he's tried it to do a bulk in a healthy way. Chicken, broccoli, and rice. Who has the space to get all that food down? And so in reality, this is 100% true. If you're having a hard time getting in calories, you need to consume calories that are more calorie dense. Things like peanut butter. But Joe mostly mentioned junk. He didn't mention a lot of healthy foods that are calorie dense. Things that can help you bulk up but have healthy fats and quality protein, such as salmon, nuts, guacamole. And so although you're thinking it has to be chicken and broccoli and rice, it really doesn't. There are a lot of foods out there that have plenty of calories. So if you're having trouble getting food down, eat foods that have more calories. Oils, salad dressing. Don't use the light versions, use the regular. And as you know, I'm a fan of drinking diet pop. If you're trying to bulk up, the opposite. If you actually can't get in the calories, do whatever it takes to make sure you're eating enough. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're not gonna put on a lot of weight. You can't. You need those calories. So if you're bulking, having a hard time getting in the food in, eat as much healthy food as you can that's high in calories. And if you still can't get in your calories, then by all means, add some of the junk. It's okay if 80% of your diet is healthy and 20% is junk. That's better than most people. So feel free to have your Ben & Jerry's ice cream, some candies and so on. Just don't overdo it.
Tip number 2 for getting the calories in, liquid calories. This is a game changer.
I do the opposite. I try not to drink a lot of calories, hence the diet pops. But if you're bulking up, when you're drinking that protein shake, make it high in calories. Do you know how easy it is to add a few tablespoons of peanut butter? A couple tablespoons of peanut butter, 200 calories. Add things to your shakes that are high in calories. This is not rocket science. You can add oatmeal to your shake, peanut butter, bananas, you can add tons. He mentions adding in weight gainer shakes, but you really don't need those. Just eat your regular protein and add the calories in addition to what you have in your shake. And his protein recommendations, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This should be very easy. If you're a skinny guy, small, how much are you weighing? 100 pounds? 150? It shouldn't be very difficult if you're 150 pounds to get in 150 grams of protein. If you're not, you need to find out the foods that are high in protein. Salmon, chicken, steak, hamburger, and for the most part, eat those that are higher in calories. So rather than having white fish or chicken breast, opt for steak, salmon, trout, things that have more fat because fat has 9 calories per gram in comparison to only 4 calories per gram in carbs or protein.
So here's my tips to increasing your appetite. Tip number 1, a very, very simple one, drink a lot of water. If you want to eat more, you need to train your stomach to expand.
And I 100% disagree with his tip. If you're having a hard time eating, he says to drink a lot of water. What do we tell people who are dieting? To drink a lot of water. because it helps you feel more full and it will decrease your appetite. It doesn't increase your appetite. So Joe, he actually got this wrong. Remember, he's only a teenager. He's just new to this. If you are trying to lose weight, we suggest to drink more water. If you're trying to gain weight, drinking a lot of water, which has no calories, doesn't make sense. So rather than drinking plain water, drink juice. Drink something with calories. Don't just drink water, drink your calories. Every time you're drinking something, there should be some calories in it. So whether it's juice or better yet, milk, which has a lot of protein, or whole milk, which has a lot of protein and fat, or even pop, it's smarter to drink beverages that are higher in calories rather than plain water.
Tip number 2 for increasing your appetite.
His next tip, to set a timer and make yourself eat for 5 minutes without being distracted. I can see how that would help. It is exactly true. He's saying if you sit around and wait a long time to finish your food, your brain catches up to you. It realizes how much you ate and it'll make you feel full. So rather than taking your time and snacking and not bothering to get your meal down, being distracted on your phone and so on, just dedicate your meals time to eat. You don't really need to time it. 5 minutes by all means way too fast. It takes at least 15 or 20 minutes for your brain to recognize that you're full, but do try to finish your meal in 20 minutes. And that was it for his diet tips, but I would suggest to also say this. Don't cut out any food groups. A lot of people who are trying to bulk and don't have room, they'll stop eating fruits and vegetables. Don't stop doing that. Fruits and vegetables are important. However, choose the ones that are higher in calories. Now, if you get my cookbooks, it says in order the most high calorie dense fruits and vegetables from the most calories to the least, so you can quite easily know exactly the ones you're going to eat. If you don't know, do your research. Find out which fruits, which vegetables have the most calories and eat those.
The common mistake I see guys do is they run something called the bro split.
Next is training, and he suggests don't do the bro split, this typical one body part a week. It doesn't make sense. You should be training each body part 2 to 3 times a week. That means you need to train multiple body parts on the same day. You could in fact train your entire body 3 times a week. That is a great place to start. If you can dedicate more time to the gym, split your body into 2. That way you're in the gym training 4 days a week, but you're still hitting every body part twice.
Now, when you actually get into the gym, for your training, you want to be doing a lot of heavy compound lifts. You know, like squatting, benching, deadlifting, all of that sort of stuff. And then mixed with that, you also want to do a bit more lighter, hypertrophy stuff, like bicep curling, tricep extensions, etc.
And as far as training in the gym goes, he suggests doing a lot of compound movements. For example, the squat, bench, and deadlift. And they also suggest doing a lot of isolation work for hypertrophy, which is to get bigger muscles. I 100% disagree with what he's doing here. He's suggesting that the compound movements aren't for hypertrophy. This is what you should be doing. You should be doing these compound movements, squat, bench, and deadlift in higher rep ranges to focus on hypertrophy. To focus on hypertrophy and to build bigger muscles, you should be using proper time under tension. Don't do sets of 5. Try to do sets closer to 10 to 15. More reps allows you to train for longer, causing greater stimulus for muscle growth. Whether it's a compound movement or an isolation movement, they are both good for hypertrophy, especially when done with a proper rep range. And so he suggests getting stronger on the big 3 lifts, which I do agree with, nothing wrong with getting stronger, but I also suggest that you get better at doing more reps. Rather than trying to deadlift, for example, 225 pounds for 1 rep, put 135 pounds and get it for 15. Slowly progress from there. You don't have to do the compound lifts very, very heavy with low reps. Those compound lifts, as I've done my entire life, you can do them with lighter weights for higher reps. Rather than thinking I need to lift really heavy on the bench press or the deadlift, you can lift lighter, but keep the reps high. Not only is that going to help you build more muscle, it's also going to decrease the chance of getting injured.
Without a doubt, the most important part about training is prioritizing something called progressive overload. So every session you go in, you want to put more on the bar than you did the previous session.
It's not true. Progressive overload, training harder than last time, can be done with a lot more than just adding more weight to the bar. If you add an extra rep, you trained harder. If you did 10 reps last day and you did 11 this day, it's harder. You don't even have to do more reps. You can do them slower. That would increase the time under tension of the muscle. Find better ways other than just lifting heavier to make it harder. If all you're doing is focusing on lifting heavier weights, you're eventually going to get injured and you're going to plateau. No one can always get stronger. Even if you're on PDs, you're not going to get stronger every single time you go to the gym. You don't need to. Lift with better form, better technique, better mind-muscle connection, and you can in fact train harder than last time without risking your health.
Don't think you need to have very short rest times to make better gains. That's not true at all. On your big compound lifts, like squatting, benching, deadlifting, you want to be having about 3 to 5 minutes between each set. And then for more lighter hypertrophy movements, like tricep extensions, for example, aim for about a minute between each set.
Next, rest times. He says, don't be afraid to take longer rests. On really heavy compound movements, 3 to 5 minutes. Absolutely agree. The heavier you're lifting and the more you rest, the more you can continue to lift heavy. If you think that you're doing better by just resting really short, 30 seconds each set, it's not enough. You can't recover, you can't get your proper ATP stores back, and you won't be able to push as hard as you want to. I do disagree that he says on lighter hypertrophy set like tricep press downs that you should rest a minute. It should be 1 to 2 minutes on any exercise or more. 1 minute is a very short rest time. He calls isolation exercises hypertrophy movements, but in reality, every exercise is compound or isolation is and should be for hypertrophy.
Unlike what you may think, supplements aren't necessary at all, but in some cases they can help out a little bit.
You can take them, they can help, but you certainly don't need them. You can take your creatines and your terkesterones, your whey proteins, your bulkers, your protein bars, all this stuff. They're going to make small differences, but not major differences. The major things you need to do is to progressive overload, to actually train in the gym, and to eat in a surplus. You need to rest, you need to recover, but if you can do all those things, you're going to build muscle. Supplements is just the icing on the cake, so don't think that you need supplements to build muscle. They can help, but it's an addition to everything else. As I said, it's the icing on the cake.
Your diet can be perfect, your training can be phenomenal, and you can be taking all the supplements in the world. But this is completely useless if you aren't sleeping enough. My general rule of thumb is try and get at least 8 hours a night.
And as far as sleep goes, don't forget you need to rest and recover. You can't overtrain and expect to build muscle. If you're not resting and sleeping enough, you can potentially get a sleep aid to help you with your sleep. You have insomnia, go see your doctor, find out what's wrong. He suggests get at least 8 hours of sleep at night. That differs from person to person. Some people, 8 hours, impossible. There is no way they need 8 hours. Other people, 8's not enough. So to simply say get at least 8 hours of sleep a night, it's not really true. I would say a better range is 7 to 9 hours, and even in that range, some people need less, some people need more. Better way to look at it is sleep as much as you need. How much do you need? If you're setting the alarm every morning and you're waking up tired and you can barely get out of bed, and you slept 8 hours, it's not enough. If you're sleeping 7 hours, you wake up fresh, recovered, you feel good, that's plenty of sleep. So it's not how many hours you're sleeping, it's how do you feel with the amount of sleep you're getting. Highly suggest you go follow Joe Fazer, lots of great advice. He's only a teenager, he does excellent, amazing videos. You can learn a lot from this guy, so please, highly suggest you go follow his channel. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching, Greg Doucette IFBB Pro. Check out the bloops over there. Also, you can get harder than last time supplements, my Circle diet book, the cookbooks, training plans by me and my team, phone consults, everything, you name it. Click the link in description, comment for the algorithm, subscribe, click the bell button, and until next time, I am out.